The UFC is being plagued with injuries ruining cards, man. Plagued, and it's starting to piss me off, bro. Like, I woke up feeling like a real bad man. You get me? Cracking my knuckles, like doing this with my head. Like I felt angry, dude. Like, this fight specifically kind of threw me off for UFC Kansas because I was actually interested in this fight for many reasons. Primarily because it was a stylistic clash between like two people who kind of gave Pereira. One gave him a hard fight, one gave him the easiest fight of his life. But, I really want to see how they matched up because I honestly think it would have been more interesting than maybe a lot of people thought. I did think Khalil Rountree was going to put the beats on him like Dr. Dre, hands on him. Lots of baits, like, oh, you bad man. But Jamahal Hill still dealing with his ongoing leg injury. Now, this guy's legs, I don't know what it's made out of. But something's up with his legs to a point where he clearly, it's affecting, like, he already moves like a platypus. I swear, look at any Jamahal Hill fight, especially after the surgery. He just moves weird. He moves like a little platypus, and I'm not jacking it. It puts him in weird situations. So this was upsetting, but this is actually not only the other fight, because there was a second fight that got called off. If you didn't know, it was this fight. Geoff Neal and Carlos Prates. Neal is out, and this saved Prates' life. Prates dodged the bullet of going against a decent pocket boxer and was going to get all his hype ended. Now, Neal's not here anymore. Now, how do I feel overall about the situation? I'm a little bit upset, a little bit angry for both situations. So what I feel like I'll have to do is to like figure out replacement fights, because honestly, both fights could be replaced. And this is what I think should first happen. Now, we got Khalil Rountree. I don't really know who's going to fit this puzzle piece. I wouldn't be surprised if this fight specifically gets called like off completely. Call me selfish. I want to see Yuri Prochazka versus Khalil Rountree. Call me selfish. Say I have no hairline. Yuri coming off the win. They were going to give Jamahal Hill Khalil Rountree because he was coming off the loss against Yuri. But why not give Yuri Khalil Rountree either? I know this might seem crazy, but I honestly think Khalil Rountree did a better job than Yuri Prochazka against Alex Pereira in both of his fights. In Yuri's first fight, he kind of put it up with Pereira a little bit. He went in there, he traded a little bit, he came forward like a little marauder and was brain dead. I think it's a fun stylistic matchup with Yuri versus Khalil. Of course, Carlos Ulberg just beat Jan Blachowicz. That was a great performance, and I feel like he has the capabilities of waiting for who's next. He doesn't have to do anything else. Well, technically he might have to on paper, but beating Jan Blachowicz was pretty good. And I know Jan Blachowicz is old, but the way Jan looked wasn't as bad as I feel like most people would have expected. So I feel like I wouldn't mind a Yuri versus Khalil. I know that might be like, oh, I feel like Khalil doesn't deserve Yuri. Bro, but Khalil didn't really deserve anything. Everything comes up. Khalil's very privileged, but I honestly think Khalil probably beats Yuri, unfortunately, in a 3-rounder at least. I don't know about a 5-rounder. But I do think Yuri Prochazka's lack of defense might catch up to him in a fight against Khalil Rountree, who's very powerful in the hands. It'll be an interesting fight, though. I actually don't know for sure who'd win. I'm sure it'll be a lot more competitive than this fight. But it's an interesting fight. And I feel like Khalil might be coming off a loss, but he's one of those people. Some fighters in the UFC chat, they come off a loss, but the loss is almost good, if that makes sense. Like, yeah, he lost to Alex Pereira, but he showed Alex Pereira was human before Ankalaev beat the shit out of him. But you know what I'm saying? So I don't mind a Khalil Rountree versus Yuri Prochazka. That's the best pick for me out of this whole matchup. Now, for this fight, I know this fight's going to be replaced. Like the other fight, I don't know for sure if it's going to be replaced or just completely canceled and thrown off. This fight has to be replaced. And I know it's going to be replaced because Carlos Prates tweeted out this. He said this on Instagram, news and good news coming soon. So I know there's an opponent. Now, a lot of people are saying Kevin Holland, man. And I agree that Kevin Holland versus Carlos Prates is going to be a very interesting fight. It's going to be very fun, but it's really just a win for Carlos Prates. Now, Prates is one of those 170ers who are getting absurd amount of hype, and I just know he can't really hang with a lot of these guys. He can't. Like, he's good. He's a good striker. If you want to go the striking route, I don't think we give him a Kevin Holland, he can strike a little bit. Yeah, he beat Gunnar Nelson. Brother, Gunnar Nelson's not Carlos Prates. Like, I'll be real. Like, yeah, you beat Gunnar Nelson, brother. Dale, brother. I'm applauding you, brother. You know what I'm saying? That's good. But Gunnar Nelson is an old jit. Like, bro said an old jit. Yeah, he's an old jit. How you a jit and you old? Like, this guy's just not. He's on his way out. Like, he's an alumni. Bro's an alumni, I want to see him go against someone more flavorful. Bro said flavorful. But, like, you get the point. I want him to go against someone who's going to give him a little bit of a challenge. And I feel like MVP would beat the crap out of him. I feel like they're not going to give him an MVP because they know this. People don't understand how good MVP is. He's very hard to get hit. It's going to be a primary striking fight. And I really see MVP beating the shit out of him, over the course of 3 rounds. Absolutely. And the fact that this card's already crazy. Like UFC 314 is already a crazy card, and this fight would have made it more crazy. And the fact that it's off and Geoff Neal had the chance to derail this hype train, and now he's not going to be able to derail the hype train. We need to give it to someone else who I feel like is going to make it a tough challenge. And I feel like that person is either MVP, or we could look at the entire welterweight weight class and look at who's ranked and who's not. All these ranked fighters beat him. You know what I'm saying? I know Colby Covington seems like he's washed. I think Colby beats him too. The only reason Buckley beat Colby is because Buckley has a big strength advantage in comparison to someone like Carlos Prates, who's like a twig, respectfully. Like, Colby won't have a hard time taking him down. I think he loses to damn near everyone at 170 who's ranked. You know what I'm saying? Damn near every. Even Gilbert Burns probably gives him a hard fight by wrestling him. Doing what he did against JDM pretty much. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people beat this guy. I feel like the UFC is going to try to do the Kevin Holland fight because I see Kevin Holland pushing for it on social media. Whereas I feel like Carlos Prates is also going to push for that because it's an easy fight for him. He's probably going to win. Not easy, but he's going to win comfortably in contrast to other people. So I don't know what they're going to do. I really feel like they're targeting the Kevin Holland fight. But we'll see. I feel like Kevin Holland is kind of good for everyone overall. When I say everyone, I mean it's good for the UFC. Because one, the UFC is going to have to they're going to give him someone who's coming off a win, even though Kevin Holland had a horrible streak prior, but he's coming off a win, so it's going to make it look like, oh, Prates knocked out or Prates beat the new and improved Kevin Holland, when in reality, he just beat a Kevin Holland's kind of shitty. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to give it a 170 MVP because MVP is coming off a striking performance, a striking clinic against Shara Bullet, who was known as one of the best 185-pound strikers, you know, and I've heard MVP say things along the lines of he's not done at 170, he still has more work and more fights that he wants to do, and I feel like Carlos Prates is that fight. And a Carlos Prates versus MVP fight is the fight I would make. If you guys tell me, okay, Ken, who's going to step in on short notice, I'll say throw in MVP. I think MVP can make the 170-pound limit. I don't know how heavy he is right now or how soon he was expecting to return to the ring. He didn't take much damage from Shara Bullet. Shara Bullet, his best shot landing in that fight was nothing. He didn't land anything significant at all. Like I couldn't tell you one notable shot Shara Bullet landed on MVP. So that being said, I think he'll be able to turn around. Short notice will make it a tougher fight, yes. But looking at Prates and MVP stylistically, I think MVP is the guy to derail the hype train. Because I feel like a lot of people are expecting Carlos Prates hype train to be derailed via, oh man, he went against the wrestler dude. Fucking, and I don't want that to be the case. You know how Shara Bullet was hyped up and there was like, oh, a wrestler's going to be the one to beat him. A wrestler this, a wrestler that. And then the person who ended up beating him was who? MVP, a striker. MVP could be this new. We should use MVP to derail these hyped up strikers. That should be MVP's job, man. His job should be to go in there and derail the hype train of all these people. Yeah, man, this guy's the next champion. He's a great striker. He went to 185 and done it, and he's going to go to 170 and do it. Carlos Prates is not, this video sounds like I'm hating on Prates. He's a good fighter. He's a good prospect. Is he ever going to be champion? Hell no. You know what I'm saying? Not even close. You know what I'm saying? And I know for sure. And people who saying that Geoff Neal would have lost, you guys must have not seen some footage of like Carlos Prates going against good pocket boxers. Even in this footage right here, I'm not even saying this is a great pocket boxer, but bro, Trevor Giles, bro, beating the hell out of you in the pocket, bro, with low kicks and with boxing combos. This guy, like, is supposed to be the best striker getting outstruck like this, dude. Like, come on, bro.
Classic Muay title. Look at him.
bro, Geoff Neal would have put the beats on him like Dr. Dre. It would have been bad, dude. It would have been really bad. It would have been really bad. It would have been really bad. Oh my. Listen, let me just say, just be glad that the Geoff Neal fight got called off if you're a Prates fan. I'm happy for you because you dodged a bullet. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think we should just let him off the hook that fast. Like, even though, yeah, he would have lost to Geoff Neal, we shouldn't just say, okay, let's give him someone he's going to beat now. Like a Kevin Holland. And I know the UFC is going to give him Kevin Holland. That's what's kind of pissing me off about this. Because Kevin Holland's showing too much interest. And, like, the UFC knows to always rely on Kevin Holland, you know, when shit falls apart, because they know he's just hungry for money and wants to fight as soon as possible and as often as possible, because he fights for money. I feel like he's not really fighting for legacy at this point of his career. He's just fighting because he likes to fight and it makes him money and it pays the bills. This is my opinion, and I'm not trying to knock him for it, but that's like a walk in the park for Prates, who's actually hungry and fighting for a deeper purpose. That being said, I don't want to see Carlos Prates versus Kevin Holland. I would rather see MVP go in there and derail the hype train. And people are going to be like, oh, MVP's washed. MVP suck. He's old, man. Bro, if you learn anything from MVP style and me glazing MVP striking, saying he's the best striker. First of all, he's the best striker for a reason. I'm not just saying this because I'm saying it. He would go in there and comfortably outpoint Carlos Prates, who I feel like would just struggle with the range and understanding when he's in striking range with someone like MVP, because MVP's speed and distance management is probably the best I've ever seen in UFC history. And I don't think I'll ever see someone replicate his style that effectively for this long period of time. You know, he's just really good at that. Like him and Wonderboy are similar in some ways and different. I feel like Wonderboy's a little bit more sidekick heavy. In contrast, MVP is a little bit more overhand heavy. But he also has clean counters when you're coming in with these elbows, but he's a real bad man. You get me, bruv? You know, a real bad man. So, listen, I don't know what the UFC is going to do with Carlos Prates, but I know they're going to have a fight that's going to be not rescheduled, but probably a replacement. Whereas for this fight, I think the card, I think it's completely off. Like, it says the main event's off, which lets me know that it could just be a completely new main event with new people. But if not, maybe we try to get Yuri in the picture. I'm sure the Yuri fans aren't going to like this. Like, oh my God, Yuri versus Khalil makes zero sense. But, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if they have different minds of Yuri or they're trying to already book Yuri with someone else, but I feel like Yuri and Khalil make sense on paper because they're one of the few known and like notable like heavyweights who haven't fought each other. So I'd prefer, instead of Jamahal Hill getting this beating, maybe give Yuri Prochazka the opportunity just to make it more like, I feel like that fight just, it will catch your eye whether you don't know who's going to win or not. So I feel like that's the purpose of why I want to see it. So I feel like Yuri versus Khalil should be the replacement. I feel like for this one, it should be Carlos Prates versus MVP. But let me know what you guys think down below. Maybe I'm just saying this because I want to see Prates lose. Let me know who you think's going to win if Prates ends up having to fight MVP. Because I'm curious if I'm the only one who's like a logical thinker as far as striking goes. You know what I'm saying? But that's it for me. Have a good one and God bless. 2, 3, 4.